I'm here at the Capitol and the legislative session is in full swing. And as is typical during the legislative session, education is on the minds of many of our legislators. And I think what many people don't know is that many of our legislators are former teachers. I'm here today with Representative Dick Lowe, former teacher, and also one of his former students. So Representative Lowe, could you both tell us a little bit about yourself?
Go ahead.
Sure. My name is Lacey Sanders, and I was a student of Dick's in what seems forever ago for me, but it was a great experience being his student my senior year of school, and now I am an insurance broker and work for a brokerage firm, and some of the life lessons that he probably instilled in me when I was in school have probably helped me to pathway into that career, and as successful as I am.
Wow. And did you refer to him as Dick when you were in school? Did he allow you to
He did.
on a first name
He did
basis?
let us
So he's
do
one of
that.
those teachers.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's the first time since then I've ever heard her use my first name.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being here. And Representative Lowe, tell us a little bit about your background in teaching before you came up here to the Capitol.
Yeah, I actually came into education at 40 years old, and it seems late for a lot. Both my parents were teachers. And so I came in after kind of a career in cattle industry and taught agriculture education for a couple of years, and then ended up the rest of my career in career tech, either working the ag industry or the business and industry. But I always kept the tie down. I was always working with students, no matter what my job does. There's nothing more important than that. In 2020, I was elected to the House of Representatives. I thought I would serve in the career tech aspect and so on, and immediately got thrown into common education, and as well as the budget. I spent 4 years as budget vice chair of education, and I spent the last 2 years now as chair of common education. So it's been quite a round to learn. A lot of it you think you know, but you're not in when you haven't been in it in a few years yet. It's some relearning, but it's been a very interesting time. Always a tough time when we don't have as much money as we like, but we're spending a lot more time and a lot more effort trying to get the right people in our classrooms. Budget's not the biggest problem we have, and so that's what we're putting all our emphasis right now.
Yeah, and you're the education chair. So what is that, in layman's terms, what does that mean?
Well, anything with policies that does with K-12 education comes through my committee. And so, we get bills in, we look at them, we run the bills that we think are good. We try to help the bills get better that are not. And, I think that's the biggest part of my job is getting the right stuff out for the members. We never want to put people on bad votes. We will put them on hard votes. That's not a problem. Don't put you on a bad vote. And, but we get to see all the different ideas we have. And it's quite an array of ideas that you will see. But I think I go back to it a little bit. It's like when I taught, there was an array of students too. They weren't all the same. And you had to deal with each one of them somewhat different.
Yeah, and where were you a teacher?
I was a teacher at Ninnekah. I taught 2 years at Ninnekah as a Go Ag instructor, and then finished up my career at Red River Technology as well as Canadian Valleys, where I finished up in Chickasha.
Okay, great. So how did you come into contact with this man here?
Well, his mom was actually my first teacher, and he was my last teacher. So I've, being from Ninnekah, knew the Lowes, knew the Lowe family. Obviously, his mom. Never did I think that he would probably be my last teacher. That was definitely not a thought, and I had several.
Who was
ag
the
teachers.
better teacher?
Oh, well, I shouldn't probably say this, but his mom's a lot nicer.
Okay.
So
I wouldn't question that.
she's very sweet, and she has a passion for kids, and it was great to see her be a teacher, and then she was a staple in our school. And then I had several ag teachers over the course of my 4 years in my high school years, and so that was a challenge within itself. Is just every year I changed ag teachers basically. Dick was great. That was a fantastic ending to my senior year. I was challenged, I was pushed. I won things I didn't think I would win because he encouraged us to go after those things, whereas a lot of my ag teachers or teachers didn't. They just were there for the job, and it was a stepping stone, or they had just gotten out of school and this was just the first place they landed. He really did care. He cared about all the students. And if he could make us better, that's what he did. And so it was great to be challenged. It wasn't fun. I will not lie. That's not always what you want to do your senior year because you're ready to check out and be done.
So how did he challenge you? How did he push you to to really be the best you could be?
You know, I think he saw things in us that we didn't see in ourselves. And I think that was probably the one thing that was unique about him, considering some of the teachers that I've had, was him just seeing that potential that we had, and us maybe not us not confident. We're teenagers. We don't even know what we want to do tomorrow, let alone someone push us into public speaking or going after an award that I never thought that would be possible, putting together a giant book like of all these things that I've accomplished, or setting up these small businesses. You know, I mowed lawns for my grandparents and all throughout, just as a helpful thing. And then you don't think about that. It's a business. You're running a business. You're running a lawnmower. You're getting paid. It's a business. It's part of what you do. You don't see that as a kid. Somebody like that tells you, this is a business, you can go after this, you can do this with this, and you can win an award for that. And we had never had that kind of encouragement in our ag program. Our ag program was mainly just showing livestock. That was really all we did. We didn't public speak, we didn't do parliament procedures, we didn't learn any really thing outside of just come show your animal, win a ribbon, go home. Like, that was really our focus for the first 3 years that I was in. And then my senior year, that was a total change for us to go into that, just public speaking in general, because we just had not done it so much. And I will tell you today, I speak in front of huge groups all the time. And it is amazing to see the group of people I work with that say, how do you do that? How do you get up in front of a group of people that you don't know and speak? Like,
And
they're terrified.
you trace that ability back to his class.
Making you public speak in front of people.
He would force you
classmakers.
to get up there and do it.
Yes, force you to get in front of your classmates and speak, which is hard. That's a hard thing to do because you're embarrassed. You want to be cool.
But today,
Yeah.
you feel like you can get in front of people
Super
and do
confident to get in front of a group of people I don't know and can speak in front of people. And I meet people every day that are just, they're scared. They don't want to do it. And I'm like, why? Why are you so scared? I'm like, did you not speak in school? Did you not give speeches? Like, you didn't talk? And they're just like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you get in front of a group of people and talk. Like,
So having a teacher who's willing to push you to do that, to elevate you,
Yeah.
really, it sounds like that's an impact that's stayed with you
Yeah.
over time.
It's been huge. I mean, even you think about, I went to college at OSU, I'm an OSU grad. Speaking in front of 300 people or in group projects that wasn't even that hard. He made it so much harder when you're a kid because you're so worried about your classmates thinking you're not going to be cool. So if you do it in that atmosphere, you can speak in front of anybody. A group of strangers that you don't care if they know, half of you don't even know your classmates because there's 300 or 400 of you in a class. That's not hard to do. Speaking in front of 12 people that you are friends with and know you, that will give you a hard time, that's harder to do
Sure.
than speaking in front of a college class.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And Representative Lowe, do you miss teaching? You're up here at the Capitol now. I mean,
I don't think I'll ever get over teaching. I think I still teach to this day. I get a chance to speak with college students, high school students all the time. That's in my heart. The kids are in my heart to get better. Speeches I do. I still work with FFA kids across several different chapters in the state to this day. We always work with those, my wife and I.
what is FFA for people who don't know?
Well, it is FFA. It used to be Future Farmers America, but it's ag ed courses. And the speaking is one thing we know with a lot of our students. Communication is hard, but once you learn, it's easy. And but I love doing that. As Lacey's talked about, I love to be able to see in them what they don't see themselves, and I think that's what teachers across Oklahoma do. Yeah. And that's what makes me proud to be a part of that profession for a while I got to spend. They do see in them. I talked to a group of students today, and I said, you know what you are? You are the ones that are going to motivate and train and guide the kids for tomorrow and our next generation. You may just think you're going to teach. You're never just a teacher. You're one that's going to be the guiding factor of this state. And you think, oh, I'm in second grade. No, you do that too. She talked about mom. She had my mom in kindergarten. And she still goes back to what my mom cared about and pushed forward at that age. I just got to do it at the last end, but they were a little more trained than we keep them in the classroom. But in Lacey, I can remember we were talking earlier that I can remember we judged livestock, and what you have is 4 animals, and you decide what order of quality they are, and you place them. But that's not the end of it. Then you have to give what we call oral reasons, which is you have to justify why you did that. I'm gonna tell you, when she did the first time, she wasn't very good.
Terrible.
She wasn't, but it wasn't about her being good at that, but now every day in her job, she has to justify and be able to critical think. And so it's just one of those pieces. I said, okay, that's not an if you're going to go, you're going to do that. We're going to. She probably was a little resistant at first, but she got over the resistance and so. And then I also, as I thought back about that times, and it's been a few years now, I can remember her sitting in my office one day and we were talking about some things, and she really didn't have any direction in her life what she was going to do. College was not in it at all. No. And I kept telling her, no, you got to go. You have the ability. She didn't see her ability, her potential. Ended up being a graduate of Oklahoma State. Both of our alma maters. We're very proud of that. But to do that, now to go through this career and see where she is doing, it makes me feel good. Okay, never going to get rich, didn't care. But I am rich when I see students that have attained what they're trying to get in life. That's what makes you rich as a teacher.
That's incredible. So is that how, is that, does what he just said, does that track with your?
I mean, it is, it's true. You know, Minnequa is a very rural town. It's very small. I think I graduated with 32 people, which is tiny. That was one of the biggest classes that graduated from there. So, you know, growing up in that environment, and then, you know, just the background of a lot of the kids that go there, their parents are, you know, they either work for the city or they're firemen or their dad's work in the oil field. There's not a huge career path. There's not a lot of push to go to college. You don't think about it. It's just, I'm going to do what they did. I'm going to go to work for the city, or I'm going to stay here in town, and I'm not going to go outside of my comfort zone, as I would say it. And, you know, that as a teacher is really one of the biggest things, is pushing kids out of their comfort zones, pushing them to do more when you see that they can do more. Because if you don't push somebody or challenge them, it's easy to step back and just be in the shadows. And, you know, going to a small school like that, our education was not great. We did not have phenomenal teachers. You know, a lot of times the teachers in those small schools are the basketball coach, the softball coach. You know, a lot of them are in that industry, and so it's their care is how great you are in sports, not how great you are as a person coming out of there. We don't have a lot of kids that graduate and go play in the pros in any sport in Minnequa, so that just was not. You know, we just didn't have that.
So academics becomes all
the more important when you have somebody who can challenge you to see outside of that and just pushing you to go do that stuff, figure it out. And I think that's where I work in employee benefits and deal with lots of people in municipalities and industries. And so I see it a lot is they have that same mindset. And maybe if they had a teacher that pushed them a little bit when they were in my shoes or my age, or now, that they might have a different trajectory and they might go be a lawyer, a doctor. But if you don't have a teacher that believes in you and your home system is the same, where you're not getting that input, because my dad was gone, he was in the oil field, and my mom was, yes, a stay-at-home mom and retired, but she didn't push us. My mom didn't go to college, my dad didn't go to college, so there was just not a real thought of it until you get pushed and start thinking, okay, well, I actually can go, even though grades aren't super great and I don't go to a great school and I'm not a valedictorian or a salutatorian, and so you still can do it. You just need somebody to push you out of your comfort zone to make you do it.
And it sounds like you had that opportunity when coming across
I
Representative
did. My
Lowe.
senior year, my last year of school, I did.
Well, nationally, fewer and fewer people are deciding to get into the teaching profession. So given your work, not only here at the Capitol, but as a former teacher, and also the impact that you directly attribute to having a teacher like Representative Lowe in your life, I mean, what advice do you have for young people who are considering this profession?
I think you better look in your life and see what's really important. And it's not finances. We all like finances. We all like to make the big dollars. But what's important? Are kids important? When I tell people, I used to represent about 18 different school districts within my district. When I became chair of education, I have now 700,000 kids in the state of Oklahoma. They're in my heart that I do the right thing. I think as we look at being a teacher, you quit worrying about necessarily what's it going to pay, whatever. What can I do to help somebody else be successful? And there's not that many things truly in life that we have that opportunity to help other people be successful. And then when you sit back at my age and look back and see so many of my former students being successful in their lives, and actually we were talking earlier about another one that this bit. I felt like I had a big part in his life. He now serves on the school board at our home school. It makes you feel like, okay, I've made a difference in there. Now he's trying to make a difference too, and that's what it's all about. This world's a big world, but it's a small world too. And just those few that you get to make that change. And I get to do that here with our page system. Sometimes our kids come in and their page system, and they all say, you spend so much time with your pages. I want to teach them. I want to excite them. I'd love they go back and be educators, because we need educators. But, I just need to make sure that as we look